Alright, so Canyon Slough does not let Castle Ardenvale come into play untapped, but we have a hand with 3 lands, 2 black sources, and a lot of stuff to do on curve. Seems like a plan. Okay, well now we have Fable the Mirrorbreaker on 3, which is also super appealing, but the Castle Ardenvale coming into tapped downside is currently looking pretty relevant. I think I'm just going to spend 2 turns playing effects that make my opponent discard cards, and then probably play a turn 4 Fable the Mirrorbreaker here would be my guess. But I think it's better to do Acquisitions Expert on 2. That's just 3 for 1 my opponent with. Oh, I see. If you blow up Acquisitions Expert in response to the trigger, I don't get to make them discard anything? Oh, I didn't realize this card was so bad. I should absolutely replace it with Virus Beetles. In the meantime, I still got a 2 for 1 anyway? So, that's cool. I'm not entirely sure, how to contextualize the fact that my opponent's mainboarding red cap melees and used them on my Acquisitions Expert on turn 2 and lost a land. But, Howdy, Xyled. You want to red cap melee my Virus Beetle again, opponent? Is that where we're going? No? Growth Spiral? Okay. I can't get over the fact that my opponent's playing a ramp deck and also sacrificing their lands. I'm really not sure what to make of this. Winota was banned. I'm suspicious that my opponent did not realize that Winota was banned and is still playing an old list that had red cap melees. Gonna gain some life. Sure. We can discard cards. Do I want to discard anything, though? I don't believe that I want to discard anything, though. Alright, opponent. You want to block any of my creatures so that I can kill your Omnath with an Oath of Kaya? No? Rude. Can I... I can. This works. I can exile Oath of Kaya and play Fable of the Mirrorbreaker this turn. Four-color Snover is a good idea in Explorer. What is a Snover? Oh no, my opponent hit so many Escape to the Wilds. That's moderately concerning. So what am I supposed to get with Karn here? I don't actually have anything that stops my opponent from playing the Ultimatum. Right? Correct. Because that exile is not a library. Very well. We will discard a land and draw a land. Okay. In that case, I believe my goal in the short term is to make my opponent discard as many cards as I physically can. Opponent just has a lot of red cap melees. Omnath. Okay. Well, that's not as scary as them playing cards from exile? Huh. I mean, like, okay. Well, I guess I win then. Let's see. I probably should kill the Omnath if I had to hazard a guess. I could Wishclaw Talisman to go snag another discard effect to get them down to only top decking one card this turn. Is that better than killing the Omnath? Because I don't know if I care about the Omnath. Maybe that is better. So we Wishclaw Talisman. We go and grab something. What do I grab? Oh, as tempting as it is to get Demonic Pact, that's probably just wrong. Thoughtseize is a risk if they only have 2 lands in hand. Yeah, so Acquisitions Expert it will be. Opponent discards Lotus Cobra. I tried to set an instep stop, but I guess it kind of just ignored that. Alright. Opponent gets 1 turn to top deck card draw. They find very, very good card draw. That is unfortunate. But they hit 5 lands, which is good. They're going to kill my Karn, aren't they? Because they can play 3 lands. That's fine. I'm gonna have to Vanishing Verse the Wishclaw Talisman in response. Am I not playing a Clover deck? I mean, I would say that I'm much more of a Demonic Pact person than a Clover person, surely. Yeah, this one kills Karn. Okay. Either way, we have 1. I guess they could draw instant speed things to be not in a lock. Hey, Cerizium! Thanks for the resub. I appreciate the support. Let's see, how do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? I guess I can put Yorion in hand, right? Yeah, seems fine. No attacks. Go to draw. Bonk opponent's card. Oh, Genesis Ultimatum. How sad. Alright. I guess I shouldn't have put Yorion in hand. I should have just dumped all my mana into doing Kiki-Jiki combos. I forgot that was an option. Because I had 2 unsummoning sick Kiki-Jikis, which is like a position that I've never gotten to be in before. This is probably like, fine, I don't know. Alright, and a bunch of stuff gets sacrificed. Opponent draws a card. We make the opponent discard the card. Oh no! The opponent gets to draw a card at instant speed. Oh no, they get to put a land into play! Oh no! Opponent figuring out cute ways to get around the lock. Alright, mostly I just think that I'm supposed to play Wandering Emperor here so that I can start attacking into this Omnath. Do 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 do. Alright, pump the Goblin Shaman. I mean, I guess they can activate World Tree. I don't know why World Tree is in their deck, but like maybe that's something that I'm supposed to be afraid of? I don't know.
Remember your training.
What kind of extra turn spells do we have in Explorer? Time Warp isn't legal, right? We can't build like an actually cool Clover list. I guess there's Alrund's Epiphany, which is like fine. Okay. Kudos to the opponent for having not conceded yet, I guess. Oh, I should totally play Meathook Massacre so all of my reflection copies drain. Yeah, that's a real good point. I might have Lethal here. I forgot Meathook, like, does that. I've never actually used Meathook to hurt my opponent before. Alright, let's see then. We can put a counter on you and play this for 0. That's 5, 8, 9, 10. I don't know, that's probably enough. Play for X equals 2 post-combat. I don't need to, all of my copies are going to die on their own anyway. Because they get sacrificed at the end of turn. Let us see. So I get to go like, make a copy. Make a copy. Make a copy. And then we are good. Oh, I could have made a couple more copies. Oh well. I forgot I was getting 2 treasures. Oh, I guess I'm just winning now. That's fair. I thought that I was doing like half that much damage, but apparently not. Discontinuity. Yeah, Discontinuity lets your opponent untap though, so it's not really the kind of extra turn spell that I want to be tutoring for in... Clover. Have I played any Agent of Treachery and Indomitable Creativity yet? I have not. Okay, so if we are playing against Omnath.deck, Rest in Peace is not helpful against that. Pithing Needle is not helpful against that. Although we could play Pithing Needle and name Fabled Passage, couldn't we? Huh. Not really sure Clover needs an extra turn spell right now. Extra turn spells in Clover are pretty strong. Andreas Bianashi? No. There's no second die in the middle of that, so Bianchi? Bianchi, I'm gonna guess. Thanks for 7. I appreciate the support. Almost convinced myself to cut that a couple of times. Oh, no. That's wrong. That's wrong. Truly, this is wrong. Well, let's bring in Pithing Needle. Do I want Farewell? I guess I can probably keep Farewell. I probably do not want Meathook Massacres. I probably want Thought Distortions. I probably don't want Rest in Peace. I can probably trim Vanishing Verse, maybe? For like a Noxious Gear Hulk? And a Bank Buster. Okay, we'll call that fine. Where is the Doom Foretold? I really hate Doom Foretold. It's like such a slow, dirtily derpy card. Okay. Thoughtseize, Demonic Pact, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Farewell at some point. This seems solid. Should I be Thoughtseizing Growth Spiral on turn 1? Yes. My life is irrelevant. My opponent has an Aether Gust, which I guess hits Fable of the Mirror Breaker? Am I supposed to be annoyed by that? I'm gonna take the Omnath. I don't feel like I care very much if my opponent Aether Gusts my Fable. It's like the world's most minor inconvenience. Sounds like Key. So Bianchi? Is that right? Okay. Would you like to Aether Gust my Fable opponent? Do. Answer to this is yes. Do I want to put this on top? No. The opponent did not bring in the melee. The opponent was main decking the melee. Nope. Okay. Well, there's a Harmless Offering, I guess. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw 2 cards. Sweet. Oh, hey, Thought Distortion. That sounds like fun. Alright, well, let's go ahead and play another Demonic Pact, because I would like to be able to double Mind Rot my opponent eventually. Yosharn! That gives them so many cards in hand that they can pay for my Demonic Pact forced discards with. I'm actually, like, pretty upset by that. Alright, so let's see. This one does 4 damage to Yosharn. This one draws 2 cards. 6th land is perfect. I would love to Thought Distortion my opponent. Alright, opponent. I'm gonna Mind Rot you twice and then give you a Demonic Pact. So what is your answer to this? I guess they actually do sort of have an answer. They can activate Golos on their upkeep, even though they won't have any cards in hand. So, like, that's cool. So let's see, you discard I guess maybe I can kill the Golos? Nope. Didn't top deck anything that lets me kill the Golos. Alright, which of these... Here we go. Target opponent, I would like you to lose the game, please. And I guess we'll play Fable the Mirror, just in case. Okay. They did not end up activating the Golos in response to losing the game. Ooh. Thanks, Rachel. I was real happy with the run. Lovestruck's a scam? Well, I mean, depends on the metagame. In Historic, I was cutting Lovestrucks because it didn't do anything against Phoenix. But I don't know whether Phoenix is, like, actually good against Explorer decks. Like, it's not great in Historic, but maybe it's good in Explorer. But, like, it's so good against aggro decks. Are we really, like, cutting the entire thing? I guess you have to, like, fit Omnaths in if you're actually trying to play 4-color adventures, don't you? So maybe Lovestruck is the cut in that case. Well, okay. This is a hand of cards that do things. Mostly it is a hand of cards that hurt me to play, physically. Let's see. I am probably supposed to play Emeria on turn 1 in order to do the least damage to myself. Ooh, rest in peace, huh? That could be exciting. I feel like we're once again going to run into that problem where Acquisitions Expert getting removed kind of sucks, and I didn't know the card had this downside. Oh, cool. I get to just make my opponent discard a Brazen Borrower. Silly opponent, you could petty theft my Acquisitions Expert for free. Teamer Clover again? Well, I guess not again. We technically never saw Clover or Adventure Creatures in the previous game. But I don't actually have anything that I am doing at the moment, is more or less the awkward part here. I don't even have a second black source for Demonic Pact off the top? Man, my deck is deeply questionable. Omnath not getting Vanishing Verse might be a problem. No! Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, where were you last turn? That would have been perfect. Well, I guess I probably lose. I'm assuming Red Cap Melee is actually a main deckable card just because it kills Omnath for 1 mana, is the idea. That's probably not unreasonable at all anyway. Alright, 4 mana, Petty Theft, blows up my 2/2 mana dork. Make me sad, because that's my only second source of black at the moment. No, just cast Fae of Wishes? Oh, okay. Don't think Omnath is popular enough to warrant main deck hate? Really? Is there a world where Omnath is not the best deck? Like... I thought that it was probably not particularly close. Boop. Is it worth sacking a treasure to put Yorion in hand? Probably not. Rakdos everywhere? Really? What's the appeal to Rakdos in the format? Yeah, that makes me sad. Okay, the Vanishing Verses are turning out to be a problem. Because I'm really going to need to Meathook Massacre this Omnath, which I'm not in love with. I don't particularly think I have a method for beating Escape to the Wilds with an Omnath in play, which is very disappointing because I think that means I just have to Meathook, and I do not foresee myself being able to win while on this. Creativity is probably fine, but feels like I have no clue how you would build a creativity list that could be favored against adventures. Wow. That's the third Omnath, huh? Harsh. Yeah. I am probably totally incapable of beating that. Well, yeah, I'm completely incapable of beating that. Alright, let's see. It's unfortunate that the adventure mode of cards are not considered activated abilities, but I guess Vanishing Verse is a little better against decks that are actually playing adventure creatures and aren't just mono Omnath. Let's see, what are we cutting here? Probably Wandering Emperor. They just didn't seem interested in attacking and playing into Wandering Emperor at all. Alright. We have nothing really, but I'm sure nothing is probably fine. I mean, it's still turn 3 March, I guess. Or even turn 2 March if they cast Clover here. Yep. That's probably worth doing. Put Yorion in hand next turn, probably. Yeah, I think I'd rather get to put Yorion in hand next turn than just March next turn. Why is there a Beetle in the deck? To have more 2-drops that make our opponent discard. I don't know for sure if that's, like, actually good, but that's the reason. What are we snagging with Karn here? I guess probably Noxious Gearhulk? Again, not actually having an answer to an Omnath in this spot kind of bites a lot. There's the Omnath. We hope they don't play Fabled Passage. They don't play Fabled Passage. That's good. Lovestruck Beast making a 1/1. Yeah, I'd really love to be able to get some kind of answer to the Omnath here, but that's not looking likely. Alright, let's grab the Wishclaw then. And let's play Yorion and reset our Karn.
I will be better prepared next time. Our actions determine the course of history.
Yeah, as far as valuations go, going to need to figure out cards that remove Omnath better than Vanishing Verse and March of Otherworldly Light. Elderflame Cleric instead. It's just worse than the Beetle, isn't it? I guess it's mostly irrelevant. The artifact typing kind of matters because it's got synergy with Karn. What deck would you recommend to play in Explorer? Is Greasefang the best deck? I don't think so. I'm not sure what advantage the Greasefang deck has, other than, like, I guess it's a super linear combo deck that you could play in best of one. It's probably hard to hate, but I got to imagine that it loses to decks with actual graveyard hate. Valorous Stance? Yeah, but that isn't something that actually kills stuff early on, which is pretty important. Okay. Opponent punches my Karn, which is mean of them. They could choose to stomp the Karn if they wanted to. But we've gotten most of our Karn value already. Oh yeah, the 1/2 discard we have realized is actually not particularly good, and we are going to cut. I did not realize that it didn't work in ways that have now become apparent. Yes, I would like to kill Omnath, but my opponent still has like 1 billion mana, which is going to be a problem. I guess the good news is that my board is kind of decent. What would I recommend? I guess we can try to do some work on figuring out how to build a good Clover list, because Clover's probably the best deck in the format if I had to guess. Otherwise, nothing jumps to mind as being busted enough to be better than Clover. Oh, a braid for my Gear Hulk. That's mean. I also do not think that there should be any room for an Abrade in the sideboard of an Adventures deck. So, like, I am deeply tempted to actually build an ideal adventure deck. Okay. I'm 1 black mana short of playing Demonic Pact and Vanishing Verse here, which is what I would like to do. So I'm leaving myself basically dead to a fling combo at some point, which is probably pretty inevitable. Yeah, Fire's Invention is a card people have historically liked and disliked in equal amounts, but I was never one who found it, like, particularly great. It's fun. It can be strong, but I don't think that it's ever been the best deck in any format. Let's see. I'm inclined to say kill the human, keep the Lovestruck Beast around, Draw land, that's fine. Pass the turn. So I can block Bone Crusher, draw a card with Bank Buster, Vanishing Verse the Beanstalk, Clover. Okay. I need to survive 2 more attacks, including this one. Maybe I shouldn't Vanishing Verse the Beanstalk this turn if they just go to attack with it. That way I'll have the Vanishing Verse for a future turn and can hit a Beanstalk in response to a Fae of Wishes. Fire's Local Yorion was never the best deck in Standard. It was a deeply bad deck, in fact. But it was very popular because it beat up on the other version of Fires that actually was the best deck and pushed that deck out of the format, which was great because that made Wilderness of Reclamation the best deck by far because that had like an 85% win rate against the Luca Fires deck, which was fine with me. Okay, I guess I actually have to do this in response, huh? This is troublesome because now they just get fling with one of these 2 Fae of Wishes and fling the next Beanstalk Giant at me. 5, 10, 13. And I have not gained enough life to do anything about that. Let me save you some effort building Clover. Alright, remind me to take a look at that after this game. Disallow. Well, that's, like, horrifically annoying. In the sense that it counters Demonic Pact. So it is now time to find Thought Distortion. Or Thoughtseize, I guess? So they disallow this discard. If we top deck Thoughtseize, we win. Karn. Please tell me I still have that on my sideboard. I believe I still have the Virus Beetle in my sideboard. Oh, I still have the Virus Beetle in my sideboard. Good work, deck. The view sideboard thing in-game actually works? Maybe? Do I have a 6-card, 5-card sideboard currently? Is that the truth? I'm not entirely sure that's the truth. Because my deck tracker is telling me I actually have a 12-card sideboard at the moment. In reality. Okay, let's see. They didn't hit a Petty Theft to get rid of my Demonic Pact. They did hit 8 damage worth of Bone Crusher burn. And the ability to make Lovestruck attack. And the ability to play Omnath, which might be 4 more damage, which is 12 damage. Just kill Virus Beetle. Oh! They might actually have lethal here if they do this right. I think if they stomp Virus Beetle, put the other 6 damage to my face, and get to do 4 damage with Omnath, then they connect with Bone Crusher and do exactly lethal. Just got here, can you talk about the list a bit? Yeah, basically the idea is they were trying to play Demonic Pact, get a bunch of value out of it, And then... Oh, cool. My opponent messed up. Neat. And then Harmless Offering our Demonic Pact away to our opponent. I guess maybe they were playing around Vanishing Verse? Or maybe they just weren't thinking about trying to kill me. Rookie mistakes, opponent, when you're dead on board. They may not entirely realize they're dead on board. Alright, so if you want to learn how this deck works, you are about to. Draw 2 cards. Yes, I should have enough mana to do all of this. I mean, I guess maybe they have a Brazen Borrower in hand and then I lose. Karn for Wishclaw is our way of assembling the combo, yes. Without dedicating too many spaces to Harmless Offering, which is not a card that you actually want to draw. Alright, Acquisitions Expert. Opponent discards a card. What kind of card you got in hand, opponent? Oh wow, it was Brazen Borrower. And because they didn't bounce the Demonic Pact, they have lost. Cool. Would you rather have Mazemind Tome in the sideboard than Bankbuster? My idea was that I wanted cards that I could board in against control. And I do think that Bankbuster against control, the fact that it can actually, like, eventually make a threat, is a bigger advantage than Mazemind having the ability to scry and gain life. It's also kind of cool that you can blink Bankbuster with the mini copies of Yorion in the deck. After having gotten full value out of it. Whereas the Mazemind Tome exiles itself once you've drawn all the cards. But mostly it's that I think Bankbuster being able to make threats against control is something that I care about.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, I don't think Mazemind is something that I would want to sideboard in against aggro, and I think that we're already kind of just very good against aggro, so it's just not necessary. Wow, our opponent chose to lose the game. Curious choice, but I won't fault him for it. Alright, let's see. I guess Vanishing Verse actually did turn out to be useful in that game, and Wandering Emperor did not. Having a Virus Beetle in the sideboard turned out to be game-winning, so I don't want to change that. They did, in fact, play Fabled Passage, which kind of makes me want to bring in the other Pithing Needle a little bit, but I don't know how much. It's not like any of my other cards are actually good. Oh well. Rest in Peace because the instants and sorceries go to exile. Rest in Peace doesn't really do anything against their deck. They have no use for the graveyard, and it doesn't interact with how Adventures work or how Escape to the Wilds works. Did I? I did. Cool. I'm super out of the habit of manually starting and ending my recordings during each match, so I guess I should count myself as lucky that I remembered to actually start recording at all in the first place. Black discard and Adventure Hate. Adventure Hate. What kind of black discard Adventure Hate card are we thinking I was the SMC champ, qualified for the first GB. The first PT, yes. I went 10-5, didn't make top 8, but I think I got like 23rd place or something, and did successfully qualify for the next Pro Tour, which will be in paper, which is gonna be fun. I think it's a 3-mana sorcery. 3-mana sorcery that hates on adventures. I have no clue what that would be. Like that it taxes them somehow, or that it like blows up Lucky Clover? Oh, there was Dranith Magistrate, which is a 2-drop in white that stops you from casting spells from exile. Exiles a card on adventure. Oh, something that removes them? Oh, cool. Apparently we beat Omnath again. This deck's just too good. But yeah, I think that'd be where I would start with Omnath. I see very, very little reason not to be playing Alrund's Epiphany's main. I might be underrating Paradise Druid, but at the very least, I think that the Fling combo and having access to the sideboard extra turn spells is correct. The Paradise Druids over the Alrund's Epiphany's in the main could be correct, though, for sure. Lovestruck Beast was a pretty big part of what made Alrund's Epiphany good in the first place. Not crafting for the original bans to get free wildcards. I mean... No, don't take my Emeria's call, I want that land. Okay. Sylvan Caryatid, I would definitely run over Epiphany. Yeah, I believe that. Sylvan Caryatid's just a much better card than Paradise Druid. But maybe Paradise Druid's still just correct. Alright, you know what? We're going to run it back. How many Demonic Pacts are you gifting, and are you giving them to everyone in chat as well? Anyone in chat who wants to take a Demonic Pact from me needs only to queue up against me. Those are the entry requirements for this particular giveaway. Court Spiral might be better than Paradise Druid. That requires you to build your mana base in a way that actually has untapped green, blue on turn 2, which is actually pretty difficult. It could be possible, but it's hard. I guess we could take a look at that. Yeah, okay. This isn't like a good hand, but it is a hand that does things. There are only 6 tap lands in the deck, yes, but does the deck still do green-blue on turn 2 well, regardless? Because it's got a lot of lands that don't make green and blue. Huh, okay. Alright, I guess I'm taking Bloodtithe Harvester then. Oh, I should have played Brightclimb on black, and then taken the other Bloodtithe Harvester so they couldn't top deck a land here. And then immediately Bloodtithe Harvester me. Tiny errors. Never had consequences to anyone, ever. Alright, let's go ahead and not let our opponent Fable us, I guess. Well, we have gotten top decked upon pretty hard here. There's a chance that this could go decently if we get one more land drop. Oh, or you know what, Wandering Emperor is also like stellar. Do not mind that at all. Opponent deciding not to graveyard glutton their own creatures is cool and makes me happy.
Anyone who harms my people must contend with me.
So now the opponent can stomp the Wandering Emperor. Which is fine in the sense that it slows them down.
Until next time, then.
Not perfect. Oh, but we drew Demonic Pact, so now everything's perfect. Am I excited for Alchemy Baldur's Gate? I don't know. I got like no clue what cards are actually in that, to be entirely honest with you. I suppose I am not unexcited. It's a grand total of 3 lands that make neither green nor blue. But how many lands make blue? And how many lands can make blue untapped on turn 2? Might be a better question. I suppose the most common sequencing is you play the blue land on turn 1, and then the green land on turn 2, ideally speaking. Yeah. How are we doing this? Can't really kill the Sorin. I think I get rid of this Yorion. I could downtick this Karn and get the whatchamacallit this turn to be as safe as possible. The tutor. I think I'm supposed to go get the tutor to be as safe as possible. I mean, they have hand hate is the part of that that's scary. I could get Pithing Needle instead. No, I have to get the Wishclaw Talisman because there's the onboard Den. Needle Naming Den is an option. Yeah. That might have been more correct. The thing is, if they hit me with a hand hate spell right here, I could still just put Yorion in hand and they would need to top deck another hand hate spell again. Jeez. Alright. So I have to put Yorion in hand so that I can play Demonic Pact next turn. Or rather, so I can bounce it. Okay. Which means I might as well get something that I can do with Karn for 3 or less mana. Which would probably be Portable Hole. I could get Bankbuster, I guess. That's not actually, like, good. Virus Beetle doesn't do anything while they're empty-handed. I could Pithing Needle Sorin. Is that what I want to do? That's actually probably just the correct thing to do at this point. That is kind of true. I generally prefer to favor winning the game over doing a combo if I'm building a deck. If I'm building a combo deck, I don't want to just, like, win 30% of the time when I get the combo off. I want to, like, actually try to make a competitive version of the combo. But does remove the ability for it to have power and toughness and therefore care. First name is Rob. Rob with 2 B's. Oh, okay. Alright. I dig it. Alright. We will take this. Why not? Shock. Put myself to 16 on turn 1 to establish dominance. And we are playing against a Grixis gamer. So I could take Fatal Push and then play Virus Beetle, and Virus Beetle is an answer to Dreadhorde Butcher. Oh no, they got Kolaghan's Command too. Oh no, everything is awful. Oh no, I hate all of this. I think I just have to take Dreadhorde Butcher, but like, I don't actually have an answer to that Diabolist at the moment. Top deck to land. Opponent, that's not fair. How am I supposed to beat you if you play your lands on curve correctly? Are we going to Fatal Push my Virus Beetle opponent? Are we? Hmm. You want to Fatal Push the Virus Beetle before I can Thoughtseize your Fatal Push? No? Oh, you found another Fatal Push. Oh, no. Alright, well, I gotta take Kolaghan's Command. That could 2-for-1 my Virus Beetle. That's just not acceptable. Here's our Fatal Push. Okay. I'm probably about to March of Otherworldly Light, exiling my Yorion. So I don't really want this Diabolist sitting around to pressure my Karn. Now the opponent has 1 Fatal Push left. Yay! Cards drawn. Good times. Alright, Karn, go ahead and snag that card from the sideboard. It's going to be the one that does card advantage. Are events a true indicator of the meta? In my experience, these events are full of random jank. Yeah, I tend to find that events have a more serious, try-hard, however you want to describe it, metagame than events and ladder. I guess High Diamond is like the try-hardiest ladder. And then like Super High Mythic is back to jank, but it's good jank piloted by excellent players. Ooh, okay. Farewell's cool. I dig that. So opponent's going to Kolaghan's Command my Bankbuster here. It's the only reason they wouldn't have played... Yeah. No, I have to discard a card? That's actually way better than them having gotten a creature back for me. Ooh. Gonna hold on to Brightclimb Pathway because I believe my Grixis opponent to be the kind of player who would play 4 copies of Kolaghan's Command, and I don't want to discard my Yorion. Do I want to play my Yorion, though? I do probably want to play my Yorion. Alright, opponent. I got a 4-5. What are you going to do about it? Oh, Castle Locthwain's brutal? Wow. This is like literally the worst possible thing that could have actually happened at all. That's impressive. Much of our Otherworldly Light cannot hit Planeswalkers, which is unfortunate. Wow. I've gotten a tiny bit, like, worst case scenario top decked upon, huh? Which is very much the playing against Grixis experience. So, nothing new in that sense. Let's see. Opponent Fatal pushes my Castle Ardenvale token. yet. We draw the least relevant card in our deck, unfortunately. Oh, wow, okay. Not Fatal Pushing to protect the Nicol Bolas. Alright. Interesting. Stomp face. We gonna do anything at any point? No? Okay.
My intellect is without limit.
The problem with this is if I actually take this attack, they can Fatal Push their own Dreadhorde Butcher to kill me. So I, like, can't actually take this attack. Hey, Sandwich Ammo. Thanks for the resub. I appreciate the support. Well, that Emeria's Call would be useful if I had a land, but I don't. Dang. Alright. Unfortunate. Alright, let's cut the rest in peace. Let's... Oh, Vanishing Verse is not going to be very stellar against multicolored threats. Deck. I want Thought Distortions, I want a Pithing Needle, I want a Bank Buster. I don't really want Farewell. Do I want... what else? What else do I want or not want? I guess I don't really need the Pithing Needle. I mean... Oh yeah, Pithing Needle actively not very good against the deck that plays 4 Kolaghan's Commands. That tracks. I can probably German Acquisitions Expert and not feel too upset about it. Okay, take the play, keep hand of cards that are playable. Is this a world in which I want to hold up March for 1 on turn 2? I don't believe that really has any benefit that I can think of. Yeah, they are certainly capable of Dreadhorde butchering me. But that was not going to change. Oh, but imagine a world in which I could have Virus Beetled on turn 2? Oh, deck. Deck, you've let me down. Oh. Yeah, that's a bummer. Boop. How come my opponents are rude enough to play, like, Tribal doesn't get Vanishing Verse threats against me? Expressive Iteration, you say? Okay. So I'm like, Fatal Push is an option here. Hey, cool, Expressive Iteration whiffed. Oh, sweet. I love when my opponent just decides they're going to spend 4 mana to cast 2 Anticipates. Radical. Okay, Wandering Emperor. Are we down ticking on this Diabolist? Is that what I am doing currently?
You'll be safer.
Yeah, probably. Nah. Maybe? Nah. Maybe? Yeah. Because I can play Karn and still have March for this devil token.
This is what you get for hurting my people.
Right? Is that what I want to do? Is that what I want to do, or do I want to Virus Beetle my opponent? I can Virus Beetle and then uptick Wandering Emperor on it. It's like kind of cool. It's not very good against Kolaghan's command though, is it? I guess it's not actually bad against Kolaghan's command either. I can put Yorion in hand here.
Remember your training.
Is there much benefit to putting Yorion in hand over holding up March of Otherworldly Light? I just don't see that many things my opponent could do this turn that I'd want to March. I don't think them playing either of the haste creatures. I guess if they played like one of these two haste creatures, not Diablos, but if they played a Dreadhorde Butcher and Fatal Pushed Virus Beetle, then holding up the March would have been good. So next turn I have 6 mana, I can Karn downtick, play a 2-drop, which could be a Virus Beetle. Opponent can stomp Virus Beetle, but they'd probably rather stomp... Nope, they just had Kolaghan's command. Yep. Oh, wow. Huh. They had Dreadhorde Butcher, but... it's not what I would have expected that turn to have been from them, but okay. Works for me. So I could play Karn. I don't really want to. I'd rather try to take control of the board this turn. Castle Locthwain is very bad for me to play against. Does not make me happy. Alright, let's go ahead and try to exile the Dreadhorde Butcher, which we succeed at. Take 1 damage. And then what? The whole Kolaghan's command thing really is an entire counter to my whole entire card advantage plan. Yeah, it is the Bolus again. Unsurprising. Okay. We will... would I rather exile a land or this Vanishing Verse? It's really tempting to kill this 1/1 so they can't just poke my Karn, but maybe poking the Karn for 1 isn't something that I care about? I think that it is something I care about, though. Alright, let's Vanishing Verse that devil token. Oh, wow. Thoughtseize top deck immediately makes me regret my decisions, but okay. Needling Bolus is the plan at the moment. Unfortunately, as far as answers go, this just isn't a very great answer against the deck that's playing 4 Kolaghan's commands. And you may ask how I know the opponent is playing 4 Kolaghan's commands. It is because they are a Grixis player. That is how I know. Okay, Chandra doesn't matter very much.
The immolation sensation.
-3's Karn. I'd love to draw another Karn. We don't. That's a bummer. Let's see. Thoughtseizes are not helpful. Oh, let's draw a Demonic Pact. Meathook Massacre is not useful, unfortunately.
No pressure.
This is not currently looking like an easy game to handle. Meathook Massacre is not useful. I would love to draw a Demonic Pact. Okay. Well, I did not really draw cards that allowed me to interact this game, I guess. That will certainly happen. It's a very bad idea to get into a Thoughtseize war with a deck that top decks better than you. I mean, it's certainly stronger than a Saga. I don't think they would have made it weaker. You know what? What the heck? I'm going to keep these cards, and I'm going to cycle this Savai Triome, and then my opponent's just going to die to board wipes because they're playing a creature deck. I can feel it in my bones. Is it good against Nexus of Fate? Well, it might be good against Nexus of Fate, I guess. But you also have to play a 6-drop against Nexus of Fate, and all the Nexus of Fate decks that existed in the past just played Aethergust. Oh, there's nothing wrong with loving 6-mana Chandra. It is just specifically 6-mana Chandra is not great. Red-white. Let's see. So you're telling me you're probably on a Fire's Invention deck, is what I am here to believe? Oh, you're a Lotus Field deck. Ooh la la. Alright, well, let's get rid of Blood Sun then, because you have 2 Lotus Fields in hand. That feels like a good thing for me to have done. Okay, so what you gonna do, opponent? Cycle Shark Typhoon. Okay. I mean, admittedly, that Shark is actually pretty annoying for the purposes of threatening my Wandering Emperor. Okay. So instead of playing Emperor, they play Narset, which I can actually attack, which is cool. More Narsets. Okay. Down tick a little 2/2.
Keep watch for intruders.
Play a little Meathook. Uptick on a little 2/2. Punch the Narset.
Fury will only lead you astray.
Yeah, we can probably play this land. Okay, so now they can't downtick their Narsets. Small amount of card advantage under control. You're a Dominaria. Slightly annoying.
We need to move quickly.
I'm not actually gonna have a way to pressure that as a problem. Kind of hate this pause. Alright, well, you successfully punched the Teferi. That's something. So remember that part where I said that we were going to keep a hand because it had a bunch of board wipes? and that was good because our opponent was on an aggro deck. That's turning out to be a problem because our opponent is on the literal opposite of an aggro deck. Why do people play Censor? Don't put Censor in your decks, folks. This is like a really bad card, and we have Jwari Disruption now, which is literally like the same card, but it's actually okay. There's like no reason to play Censor in decks. We used to play it because like it fueled Search for Escanta, but like Search for Escanta isn't really a good enough card to play anymore either. March of Otherworldly Light and Vanishing Verse kind of did a number on Search for Escanta's playability.
Keep watch for intruders.
Oh, cool. I do get to play threats. Do I want to down-tick Wandering Emperor here to have a third threat? Or play around a board wipe by upticking Wandering Emperor?
I'll be back.
Oh, I'm going to need to set a stop. Yeah, I needed to set a stop. Okay, that's good to learn. Does not automatically set the stop.
Keep up the pace.
That's a pretty big problem.
My prowess is unmatched by my peers. Keep an open mind.
Playing Prismari Command in a Lotus Field deck is ambitious. Yeah, this would be a much better spot to be in if this Samurai was a 4/4 right now.
Remember your training.
Alright, you attack Teferi, you attack Narset. They can play Wandering Emperor and downtick on Yorion. I'm fine with that.
Run away.
This lets me resolve the Demonic Pact.
Done.
Unfortunately, they're going to be drawing too many cards. So I'm going to have
Own your prowess.
some pretty harsh problems when it comes to mind rotting them at this point. How many cards have they used? 2, so they definitely can have more, unfortunately. Isn't this pact gonna kill us? Probably not.
We've got the edge in this fight.
But also, like, we're losing, so there's no point being cautious when we're just gonna die if we don't play every advantage we can possibly get anyway. Okay. Karn. Does Karn resolve? Unfortunately, Prismari Command is another example of weird main deck artifact destruction that is happening to us. Alright, Karn, what can you get that's actually good here? It doesn't just get blown up by Prismari Command. Bankbuster to draw 1 card, I guess, is probably the answer. I'm probably just supposed to get Wishclaw Talisman, because I'm probably never going to be able to do anything else with Karn.
Let your blade do the talking.
So they can Hero of Dominaria downtick on Demonic Pact, which is going to be a problem. See, one of the fundamental problems is if you can play a lot of control cards that answer Demonic Pact in your deck, you run into the problem of the opponent is also allowed to put all of those same cards in their deck, and then they just get to answer Demonic Pact. Third Narset. Okay, that makes the Demonic Pact drawing cards mode worse. Shatter the Sky. Alright, I do not hate that at the moment. Opponent attacks Karn, opponent attacks Wandering Emperor. I attempt to kill Strict Proctor. I would love to draw Thoughtseize. That would just be like the best. I wouldn't even cast it this turn. Yeah, farewell Cadet Planeswalkers, this would not be as scary of a position. It would not be a good position, but it would be less scary of a position. Alright, Wandering Emperor down. Alright, opponent, please kindly discard 2 cards. Castle Locthwain, huh? Alright.
True goodness can never be corrupted.
If I grab Portable Hole and get rid of the 2/2, I can punch the Narset for 1, which doesn't accomplish anything. I can punch the Teferi for 2. Alternatively, I could just get Reckoner Bankbuster and try to have one more draw towards a Thoughtseize, which seems like the best thing that I can do. Opponent trades here, that is not surprising. We gain some life, opponent loses some life, we play Bankbuster, we play Castle Locthwain, I get to draw 2 cards. But they might end up Prismari Command blowing up Reckoner Bankbuster here, in which case I don't get to draw a card with Bankbuster, because there is an Narset in play. But that did prevent them from drawing 2 and discarding 2, or worse, making me draw 2 and discard 2 with the Prismari command. I mean, I have the Farewell and the Meathook Massacre to play around that a little bit.
Let's skip to the good part.
Meditate and prepare.
This deck is better on the draw. Most decks tend to be better on the draw, according to untapped stats. But there's actually a really interesting reason for that, and it has to do with matchup favorability. And it's, if you win game 1, then you will be on the play for game 2. So, like, if you 2-0, a statistically higher percentage of the time that you 2-0, you are on the draw in more than 50% of those games. Because one of the games you're guaranteed to be on the draw. So, like, if you're playing in with either a deck that has lots of good matchups, because it just is a deck that wins a lot, or if you're playing with a deck where you're playing in an environment where you are much better than the people you're playing against, basically anytime your win rate is, like, significantly higher than, say, 70%, you're probably going to be winning more on the draw than on the play, statistically. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it is the way that it works. Alright, so we now basically just sit here, hope to top deck Thoughtseize, and if we do not top deck Thoughtseize, then I guess I also could have top decked Harmless Offering. But yeah, kind of have to hope the opponent doesn't have a counterspell. Oop. We also just have to hope they don't have Disallow in their deck, or like Tail's End or Discontinuity, because they can actually activate Wishclaw Talisman to remove the lose the game trigger. Is Yorion better than Offering in case of veto? No, because I can't win the game. Like, they have a Teferi in play. If Demonic Pact doesn't win the game here, I lose the game. So I might as well just go for the Hail Mary. That was surprising. I guess my opponent just isn't playing counterspells. They have to have Discontinuity in their deck, right? They just didn't realize they could activate this at instant speed. It's weird because normally effects like this say activate only as a sorcery, but this one is specifically anytime during your turn. Alright, well, we get to bring in Thought Distortion and Reckoner Bankbuster and I guess Pithing Needle. And Portable. And I get to do stuff like cut Meathook Massacre and cut Rest in Peace and cut Farewell, I guess. Is Oath of Kaya better than Portable Hole against a Shark Typhoon deck? I think maybe it is. It actually does kill Narsets. So, I guess we're going with this? Yeah, alright, seems fine. Never seen Virus Beetle in a Karn board. I feel like Virus Beetle with the Karn is actually just like super worth it because we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Ooh. Okay. Well, turn 2 Reckoner Bankbuster is excellent. I do want to be able to Fable of the Mirror Breaker, but we'll get to that eventually. Turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Reckoner Bankbuster sounds delightful. Ooh. Wow, Veto and Prismari Command and a pile of Narsets, huh? That's like pretty awful for me. Okay, well, I guess I'm taking Prismari Command then. My line of thought is I just won't play Reckoner Bankbuster. They'll play Narset, and then I can Bankbuster. Oh, cool. Vanishing Verse to answer a Narset is neat. Let them decide what they're doing before I give them the information. Vanishing Verse is going to hit a Narset.
I was not prepared for this.
No. Oh, well, you know what? At least I can still play that. I would have preferred to play Fable this turn over Reckoner Bankbuster, but we do what we can. Blood Sun, then the opponent plays their Lotus Field, because of course they do. Opponent gets to play Narset, sure. Then I guess I'm probably Oath of Kayaing the Narset to... Okay, cool, Teferi. Sure. Alright, drawing the Thought Distortion recontextualizes this. I'm going to Fable now. It's too bad the Fable token isn't big enough to crew the Bankbuster. Yep, there's Hero of Dominaria, sure.
You know what?
So they get to make a bunch of mana. Dovin's Veto is going to be annoying. We are going to submit 0 on Fable. We're going to punch to Fairy. Wandering Emperor sucks a lot.
I've learned much during
How am I
my travels.
answering these Planeswalkers? just have to throw this out and get it vetoed. Maybe I wasn't supposed to. Maybe I'm supposed to take a longer tack at this than playing the Oath of Kaya here. Okay, well, if that actually works, cool.
I guess that's that.
Kill the Emperor. Why no Thought Distortion? Because Thought Distortion in this position, when they still have Planeswalkers on the board currently, doesn't actually do very much. Like, I'm still going to lose that game. I need to come up with a position where I clear their Planeswalkers and then Thought Distortion, and that's a position that I'm capable of winning from. That sucks. Okay, well, Karn is something. At this point, I have to Thought Distortion because, like, I don't have anything else I can do, and I can't play anything into this veto. Okay, so next turn I can Karn and Pithing Needle to Fairy, maybe?
Keep up the pace.
Provided that the opponent doesn't draw anything too brutal in these 3 draws they've had. I can hope. Okay, 1 was a land. I like when my opponent shocks and loses 2 life for no reason. Alright, untap land, play Teferi. No, play Karn. Tempting to answer Teferi. Hope to not get vetoed. Okay. Step 1, don't get vetoed. Success. The fact that they shocked means that they probably have a Shark Typhoon in hand right now. That wasn't Pithing Needle. So this is going to be a lot harder suddenly. They want a bigger shark. Their Teferi uptick was going to untap the land already, which is why they didn't need to shock. I mean, this wasn't going to be easy anyway, but it was going to be easier if they didn't have a Teferi. It wasn't going to be very easy, though.
I will return.
What happened to the Needle plan? I grabbed the 1-mana artifact and then cast it, and it turns out that Grafdigger's Cage isn't Needle. Those are completely different cards. I forgot there was a cage in the sideboard because we haven't used it yet. Alright, yeah, no changes here. This time we get to be on the play. That's kind of a bummer. That hand that we had in that game was, like, stellar, but wasn't good enough on the draw. But, like, is the exact hand that I wish I would have had on the play. I have to keep this. If we hit a red land, everything is so excellent. Yeah, Bankbuster is not a good card. It is something I am sad that I have to run because I don't really have better options as far as what I can play in the sideboard to fetch with Karn that's good against control, but it does not make me happy. I hate my opponent having Dovin's Veto, but I hate them having Strict Proctor with Lotus Field more, I think? That might not even actually be correct. If I draw a red source, I might still just put Yorion in hand. If I draw a red-black source, I might jam Fable. I draw a black source. Okay. I don't think there's enough benefit in hiding the fact that I have access to double black to be worth playing the Eiganjo that turn, so we'll just play out our double black. We might be in a position where we're just going to try to make land drops into Thought Distortion and then start playing stuff. Our set sucks, but we get to play Demonic Pact. Their shield's down. That's good. Red source, that's stellar. The Abrade means that I don't want to just jam Fable here. Even though that's like wicked tempting. Though. It's really tempting though. No, I think I'm better off playing the Demonic Pact. They're very likely to go Blood Sun into Lotus Field this turn, which does not give them Dovin's Veto, which means I can play the other Demonic Pact as well.
Keep an open mind.
Okay. Punch down Narset. We draw the 6th land for Thought Distortion, which is nice. I don't need to play the Yorion next turn, so I can play the Thought Distortion instead, which does mean that I want to play the Demonic Pact. They are on a list that has Censor, so I should play my untapped land before the Demonic Pact. Prismari Command, draw 2, make a treasure. All these multicolored cards are just really hard for them to do with Lotus Field.
There are so many mysteries. I hone your prowess.
Narset whiff. That's unfortunate, opponent. Alright, let's see. Oh, I'm so glad that I messed this up. I was supposed to manually double check these modes and stack them in the right order, but I'm so lucky that it auto-stacked in the correct order. So we draw 2 cards with this Demonic Pact, and then the Demonic Pact that resolves above it kills the Narset.
Such violence is
So the draw actually happens. And then I still get to Mind Rot them with that Demonic Pact next turn. It's actually a pretty big deal. Alright, Thought Distortion away all those nasty Dovin's Vetoes. Boop, 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 boop. Opponent's hand gone. 2 Demonic Pacts in play. Double Mind Rot available. Target opponent discards 2 cards. I would like to draw 2 cards. No, we don't have Harmless Offering. How disappointing. That's actually a wicked bummer. Alright, well, I guess we Yorion. I could Vanishing Verse the Blood Sun, but I think that there's a higher chance that I want to Vanishing Verse a Demonic Pact at some point. Okay. Opponent cantrips a Blood Sun. Hero of Dominaria. Oh no, that does things.
Hide from the world. Hurry.
Alright, so let's go ahead and say deal 4 damage to Teferi, and target opponent discards cards. Wandering Emperor. That's a brutal series of top decks, opponent. Very mean.
I'm home.
Alright, we Vanishing Verse the Wandering Emperor, so that they can't downtick on our Yorion when we go to attack Teferi. We make a 2/2, understandable.
We must protect the people.
We play our Triome. We play Fable. We play Fable. We punched a fairy. Alright, we attempt to dodge top decks from our opponent for some number of turns. Alright, this time around I would like to make my opponent discard cards? No, I'd like to make my opponent discard cards on a turn where I am going to attempt to answer my Demonic Pacts. So not this turn. Cool. We have answers to Demonic Pacts. I'm going to draw like 10 cards this turn, and it's going to be so cool. Oh, sweet, Yorion. Alright, well then, what if I were to attack with everybody and make a bunch of mana? Did you top deck Wandering Emperor opponent? No? Cool. Okay. Now let's see, how do we want to do this? I would like to play my land. I didn't even get the option to pay 3 lands. Interesting. Or pay 3 life. I didn't realize that it shut that off. Okay, so Fable of the Mirror Breaker, because we want more Goblin Shamans. Where are the offerings? Oh, don't worry. We'll draw like 20 cards next turn and probably find it. I think. And then we will play the Yorion. We're going to have a lot of Goblin Shamans by the end of all of this. I would like to keep this Yorion. We're not going to bounce the Demonic Pacts. We're going to bounce these. Oh no, opponent, come back! I was going to make 3 Goblin tokens at the end of this turn, and then 3 more Goblin tokens at the end of their turn, and untap with 8 Goblin tokens. I was going to have so much mana! Oh well. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed that.